Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. As it's a match I haven't cast in a while, I was actually surprised because it's two of the best late game bots going to be taking each other on. In the bottom right, it is none other than BenBotBC, the BC standing for Battle Cruiser, of course. And then, taking on BenBot, it's going to be none other than SharkBot, probably the most advanced bot that is the lowest on the ladder. If that makes any sense, SharkBot plays very good. It has incredible late game. It just simply doesn't really have the best results, maybe because it does go for some more out there builds, as we see a pylon get thrown down and then an SCV being attacked. So already getting a nice delay on the barracks of BenBot with a very, very cheeky rush. SharkBot is going for a 4-gate. BenBot has found the pylon, pardon me. This probe, though, attacking the SCVs and the SCV not having a reaction to help with that is very, very big for SharkBot. The Rax does finish up, which is unfortunate, as that is going to allow BenBot to potentially defend against this. Pylons keep getting thrown down by SharkBot to delay mining of BenBot, and that definitely is having an effect. We do have BenBot trying to build a bunker on the low ground in order to handle this. However, it might not be done in time. We'll see. This SCV is doing work attacking the pylon of SharkBot. Zealots are already being chrono boosted out as it's a 3-gate. Now, the two probes of SharkBot, one of them died, the other one has now been sent home, and the bunker is full, well, is finished for BenBot. And so that means it may have been a solid hold, as SharkBot's cheese seems to have been successfully defended. We do have BenBot pulling SCVs with this, not just hunkering down in its bunker, which could be a mistake. The SCVs aren't actually attacking the pylon, which is a massive mistake, as Zealots are running after the Marines. I'm really unsure of what these SCVs are doing right now, so that is some haywire programming. You really can't fault either bot as this game gets started with a ridiculously just hectic rush by SharkBot. The pylon is almost unpowered. That's really important because two more Zealots are about to pop out. It looks like they may be denied, and they are unpowered. The probe is hanging out, but it's yet to throw up another pylon, as there is SCVs just seemingly wanting to hang out here. But these two Zealots are the only Zealots that SharkBot has out. The Protoss bot is going to have to transition or something behind this. What a ridiculous start to this game, as SharkBot's cheese is just so lethal. We now have got the Protoss bot giving us a chat tag, aggressive expand Stargate 2 base. So giving us a bit of a hint of what's coming up next. BenBot pulls some SCVs off the line. However, a lot of them die to those Zealots. And so, yeah, while BenBot invested in the early bunker, its defense has not been perfect in this situation. Fortunately for BenBot, SharkBot has yet to get another probe to resume that pylon. Looks like it's actually sending out a fresh probe to accomplish that, but I'm not sure that's going to take place, as we do have two Marines out. That probe does perish, and so the rush seems to have been canceled here by BenBot. If SharkBot had used that closer probe to build the pylon, that would have potentially allowed it to get it up. It should have also queued up another pylon sooner, but then it never did, prioritizing its nexus and expansion behind this. The forge is on the way. I'm curious if this forge will be utilized to build a cannon at the front for defense or something like that. Marines are zoning out this probe, which may want to build a pylon. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, if these two Zealots had finished up, SharkBot may have been able to just win the game with this cheese, but BenBot barely pulls out a hold. Lots of SCV fatalities happened. 9 SCVs died. And yeah, we are 4 minutes into this game, ladies and gentlemen, and I haven't got a chance to do the spiel. If we can get a like on this video, for every Zealot that's stuck in a gateway not popping out, that would be great. So three licks on that like button would be wonderful. Leave a comment down below saying more Bens, more bots perhaps. more BCs, whatever it may be. And then subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We put out daily bot videos on this channel. Notably, SharkBot never actually canceled the zealots building out of these gateways. So BenBot killing these gates is actually kind of doing SharkBot a favor because it's going to refund SharkBot those minerals. So it's like, hey, that's not bad. Now BenBot is giving a tag saying tag all in. So it looks like it's going to be going for some aggression against SharkBot. And SharkBot does not have any units out right now. It's literally got nothing. It's got a cyber core that has yet to start researching warp gate. So it's not just going to be able to warp in zealots once these gateways do finish up or anything like that. Fortunately, there is 2 batteries at the front for SharkBot, but man, oh man, BenBot is coming, and BenBot is looking for vengeance, which it definitely needs because its own command center is so late, it lost quite a few workers. So these 7 Marines and tank are going to have to get some work done. Looks like there's a single pylon powering this at the front. Battery overcharge does get popped. Unfortunately, it's actually being interrupted by the other battery wanting to heal, so that's a bit of inefficiency there by SharkBot. The battery also notably doesn't retarget the pylon until it runs completely out of juice. But eventually it does. We do have a Stalker pop on out for SharkBot. A Sentry also takes some damage and then does go down, which is unfortunate. BenBot is rallying Marines up this ramp right now, chasing after this single Stalker. There is the tank shelling away behind this. The Stargate is still alive, which is a big deal. The fact that there wasn't vision on that for a second, but another Marine coming in does provide the vision that's needed. The Stalker did perish, so SharkBot really needs these other units to pop out. We got a bad rally on that Sentry. That is not good. If you're going to program a bot, I think it's fairly straightforward to, I imagine anyway, have your units always attack command somewhere. I don't think it's ever really worth it to move command unless you're doing like intentional micro stuttering, which was definitely not the case there for SharkBot. The natural is being pressured now as 1 Marine is shooting at some probes. Another attempt on the Stargate gets shut down. SharkBot's going to attempt to rebuild that Stargate. I'm not sure it is long for the world, though. The 2 Stalkers in the main do clean up the Marines, so SharkBot's economy is not that bad behind this, but man, oh man, this game is chaotic. Battery overcharge does keep that pylon alive. Very important. 2 Stalkers are walking forward. Will they get on top of the tank so they can't be targeted down? The answer is no. They get blasted to smithereens, meaning SharkBot is in a very precarious position still as it's lacking production. The blue Protoss bot is floating more money than Warren Buffett as it's got 2,300 minerals in the bank. And let's see. Another Stalker popping out will help deal with some of these Marines. The tanks are unsieging for BenBot, and BenBot's actually deciding to go home after this. So that is really good for SharkBot, that BenBot has some more passive programming in it to just say, yeah, all right, that all-in was went on long enough. Maybe there was more Protoss supply for a moment at the front there, so BenBot decided to go home. SharkBot does eventually get up 1 Stargate. I believe it... No, it didn't actually build a second one. I'm curious if it will attempt to rebuild that one or whether it just got the 1 Stargate up that it wanted. Regardless, now SharkBot has got a massive bank it needs to burn through as well. I'm wondering what it's waiting for at this point in the game to spend its money on. The Protoss rolls on up, says Cloak. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is. I guess seeing the Widow Mines is what triggered that. Gets some shots off on the Widow Mine, but it will not kill it. 1 Stalker's actually going to eat that mine. However, the tank gets a shot off too, so it's 2 Stalkers for a single Widow Mine. The other Stalker is horribly battered. Meanwhile, SharkBot, yeah, is still just not spending its money as effectively as it should be, perhaps because this one other gateway got unpowered in the main base, so it's not resuming that. We've got gross oversaturation inside the main of SharkBot. Looks like the Oracle is getting some harassment damage done. That is one of the features of SharkBot that is really good. Well, as I say that, the Oracle dies, but it did at least get, like, I want to say like 5 SCV kills there prior to perishing. Another Oracle's coming in as well. BenBot does have a 3rd command center landing now, so its own economy is pretty much on par, if not better, than that of SharkBot's, although SharkBot does still have that big bank to burn through, and it's finally doing that. spending on a Stargate, a fleet beacon. I did just hear the click, though, of a BC as BenBot teleports a battlecruiser into the main base of SharkBot. SharkBot has an atrocious rally on that Void Ray, not actually attacking. It does fall back to the battery, though, which is quite important. There's potential for these Stalkers and Void Ray to kill the BC, but it looks like it will get out of there, or at least hang out there. No, the Void Ray actually gets on top of the battlecruiser. If it goes back to that battery and gets healed up, which it does, then it could potentially go finish that off. It doesn't look like it will, though. We've got a Widowmine being a nuisance at the 4th base. That gets cleaned on up. And yes, SharkBot did forget about that BC's existence, but I don't think BCs will be too much of a problem for long for the Blue Protoss, as it does have double Tempest being produced right now. It's got a decent ground army. The 4th base on the way is a really nice touch. BenBot does have its own 4th building in the main, but that'll take a while to float on over. And we do have the Terran stepping out on the map. However, the Stalker micro of SharkBot looks pretty good. There is definitely more Protoss numbers here than Terran, as those 3 Marauders are on the front. We have SharkBot flexing a little bit as it goes for some Oracle harassment. The Oracle is out of energy, though. We hear that click as a battlecruiser escapes from the base of SharkBot. And yes, the game does seem to stabilize between these two. SharkBot said, "Did someone order a Mineral-Line barbecue? Because things are about to heat up." I wonder if that was because of its Oracle, which would make more sense, but then also the Hellion was just starting to attack some probes there. So both bots going for a bit of harassment. The Oracle comes back in for SharkBot. It's short on energy, though. Oh, it may eat a Yamato cannon here. Yes, it does. Rest in peace. That Oracle drops a Revelation before it dies, at least. But the game will continue on, as both these bots are just macro beasts. Oh my gosh, SharkBot. Oh, I'm not gonna read that chat, but I didn't know SharkBot was a weeaboo. Weeaboo? Is that how it's pronounced? Weeaboo? I don't know. Anyway, BenBot does get its 4th base landed. At that time, SharkBot does seem to be looking to secure up a 5th. It's got Stalkers on that location, which I think is a great way to secure a base. Although, as I say that, the probe is going towards the upper north. And oh, there was a bug in SharkBot in which it placed the Nexus on the wrong spot in the past because of these mineral walls. We'll see if that happens again or not. BC in the main base is harassing a little bit. It's going to try and stay safe in that safe space, but it will regret that blink behind the base of SharkBot. BenBot says Thor mode, which I think is probably the better choice against Tempests, as BCs don't really cut it that well. No 5th for SharkBot yet, though. I was hoping we'd see this a little bit sooner. But yeah, just a very chill game between these two bots at this point, as everyone's just sort of agreeing, all right, no rush 15, although there definitely was rush in this game. And then we've got a Templar Archives on the way for SharkBot. Psystorm usage can be very important. SharkBot, notably, also has probably some of the best Prism micro out of all the Protoss bots. We finally get that 5th on the way, as BenBot's about to finish up its own 5th, so it's good to see the ecos growing for both these bots. I would like to see, yeah, SharkBot just take a couple bases, get up some good static defense like it always does. But man, oh man, BenBot's army is really growing here. The Red Terran is only 20 supply from maxing out. It's producing lots of Vikings to counter the Tempest. It's getting out a Thor, and that's going to give it a very formidable army. As I say that, though, BenBot does move out kind of before all of its units are out and on the field, ready for the fight. It looks like it is going to try and cancel the 5th base of SharkBot, though, and I don't really see that surviving at this point. They are trying to prioritize the pylon, but that Nexus is still taking some damage, so the Nexus does perish for SharkBot. That definitely hurts. Stalkers are not that good against Stim Bio. We see good Bio Micro from BenBot. The Vikings are currently being zoned out by the Stalkers, though, forcing them to stay away from those Tempests, so that does end up hurting the Terran bot's trade a little bit. However, getting that 5th base is definitely a win. We are going to see the Vikings actually take the fight, but they don't seem to quite prioritize targets that well. Perhaps say as well as Ketrok does, I think. Maybe BenBot just needs more Vikings to have that success, but all in all, that yeah, still was not bad at all for BenBot. It's got a supply lead, it's got an eco lead with its 5th base up, 6th base almost done as well. We're also getting an orbital command at the 5th base, which I absolutely love. It's got planetaries at a couple of its bases, but then getting just even the extra orbital here or there is a big deal for the toss, for the Terran, pardon me. A couple of misrallied Vikings do unfortunately meet their maker. We've got 2 Thors out for BenBot with a 3rd on the way. We're also getting nice upgrades for those Thors too, which makes me excited. I think this is probably the most Thors I've seen in a while in a game of StarCraft 2, since Veteran kind of, I'm not going to say fell off, but got surpassed by some of the other bots. Veteran was kind of the main Thor builder, so now that we don't see it competing with the top bots as much, we don't see as many Thors. So I'm glad BenBot is kind of picking up that mantle, at least in this TVP. Like, the Terran army is so beastly. It's got 18 Vikings out, 3 Thors out, then just a nice little bio army with this as well. Oracle's just getting deleted by those Vikings. There's ship weapons as well for those. More Oracles are flying around. They can use Revelation, that kind of thing. That one turns around and then just dies. So SharkBot's code, maybe not taking into account balls of 18, 20-ish, 22 Vikings, as now BenBot is moving forward. It does definitely lack the ground army here, as the Thors are not actually joining with this. Vikings are taking the fight. They are getting some shots off. There's a battery overcharge for SharkBot, though, and that is helping some of these toss units stay alive. Tempest does die, so the DPS is too high by the Terran. Notably, though, the Thors are just staying home, and oh my gosh, BenBot, no! Useless Thors sitting in a corner as they try to path to each other. That's not the first time we've seen BenBot's Thors kind of get stuck here. Although this is a trick, guys. The Thor can fit through this location. I'm wondering if they're just defensive Thors, or if it's an overall bug in the bot, because we've seen BenBot build the odd Thor here and there, but they almost never move out for the attack. So I'm wondering, is it a defensive thing? It just says tag Thor mode. So who knows, as these Thors do drop the ball, unfortunately. So BenBot will be fighting with like minus 18 supply as this game goes on, which could definitely hurt it. A couple of tanks are getting some good shots off on Stalkers, but they do go down as SharkBot is attempting to secure up a 6th base. Meanwhile, Vikings are fighting some interceptors. The Terran bot does still have a very high Viking count. It is getting out BCs once more. With all these air units, that may actually just be worth it. This is where BenBot, I think, loses some efficiency, is when it's like trying to skirmish with smaller numbers. As I say that, though, it does grab a Tempest. If it can get that carrier, it would be very nice. And looks like it does. Really well done by BenBot, as its Vikings are just ignoring their problems and staying away from these Stalkers. So very, very cool programming to have those Vikings never get in range of a Stalker, well, until the Stalkers blink underneath them. The Terran bot does have actually got some Vikings landed. These 2 Thors are still just hanging out. One of them moves out. These other 2, like, I swear, maybe I'm wrong, but I think we had a game which it looked like BenBot was stuck before, but then these Thors did get out. I may have to go review that, but I thought we saw the Thor get out last time. So who knows? Yes, maybe it is actually a trap. Yeah, they are trying to path out there, so maybe this one is too tight. They're not really pressing up against the wall or anything, though. So either way, we do have one of those brave Thors actually moving into the battle, which is cool to see. 2 slackers and 1 brave Thor. Vikings do kill another Oracle. That is SharkBot's 10th dead Oracle, as the Protoss bot does elect to take a 7th base, which is important, as BenBot is also doing a great job taking all its other bases, having many, many orbital commands. Now 6 is a real nice amount for the Terran, as the Terran is just flying around with this massive air armada. There is cannons and batteries going up all over the place for SharkBot, which will be very nice as the game progresses. No cannons at the front of this base, though, as a battery is just trying to save this pylon, but that pylon's being worked on, so SharkBot is actually getting aggressive here. That 1 Thor taking some damage. The rest of the Terran army really isn't enough, it seems, to deal with all these air units. The Prism does get taken care of. There was a Psystorm dropped in their somewhere, but this planetary is having all the SCVs that it killed, which means it will not be repaired. BenBot definitely wants to get some counter damage done now during this, and the Vikings really are just being kind of useless because there isn't that many air units for them to kill. SharkBot has pivoted to this ground comp. Widow Mines are going off. The Thors are chomping at the bit to get out there, but they are not escaping. We'll see. Maybe they'll actually be broken out by this. Widow Mines are going off. The bunkers are being broken. Tank is firing, but then goes down as SharkBot is just going for such an aggressive attack here. Such a huge commitment by the Protoss bot. But man, oh man, if it is not working. As, yeah, BenBot is really on the back foot, losing so many SCVs right now. It's got a good bank, fortunately, but even this base being harassed. Fortunately, it's got these bases down here with the mules. SharkBot does seem to fall back for now. These two Thors are still stuck. That really pains me. And oh no, now a tank is caught in there too. Like, I don't know, because I swear I cast a game the other day with BenBot on this map probably, in same position, and the Thor eventually did walk out. So maybe I'm crazy. It's gonna bug me the whole game. Anyway, we do have BenBot continuing to build mass Vikings, which is really not what it wants unless it starts landing them and getting more use. It does at least have BCs on the way, which can definitely actually fight from the sky to the ground. They also have the ability to Yamato cannon, and there's actually 5 BCs out now. So they can definitely start doing some work. Stalkers fighting at an edge, which does benefit the BCs because they get to fight in smaller numbers. The battle cruisers do take damage though, and they teleport out. SharkBot can fall back to its batteries. I would love to see BenBot dumping the Yamato cannons, but I guess it's saving it for potentially bigger fish, perhaps such as the mothership. Now, BenBot does have Vikings moving forward. We'll see if there is going to be enough to pick off that mothership. Any air unit that SharkBot makes isn't a lot of trouble, but we do actually see a bit of a Viking massacre as a Psystorm, a Stalker, Blink underneath them does get some work. They will find the Prism with High Templar in there, though. The mothership stays alive. The Tempest stays alive. But yes, BenBot is just going to keep building those Vikings. We've got a nice bit of harassment by, well, an Observer and a Stalker, but that got cleaned up. Well done, Thor. BenBot on all of its bases, SharkBot on all of its bases. BenBot has re-established this location. It's actually getting pretty close to starting to mine out. And so, yeah, all of a sudden, we're in a situation where we're 20 minutes into the game. Both bots have got pretty much everything they want secured up. And it's just a matter of the army trades at this point, which are fairly even. 22,000 lost for SharkBot, 26,000 for BenBot, which is understandable when Vikings are flying around like mad. The BCs, though, may be able to start turning that around. I'm a little confused why we don't have the music playing. Sometimes the StarCraft 2 soundtrack has very, very quiet music. And then you're like, is the music even playing at all? But it is. There we go. Vikings trying to grab that Prism. As BenBot just holding the line for now. The tanks are helpful. 2 Thors and a tank still stuck in the main. Definitely a handicap for BenBot. And that's something that's very difficult to program as a Terran author, I imagine, to have your units having good placement behavior. Vikings do find the Prism. Meanwhile, a BC poking on the front, whereas most of SharkBot's anti-air is out of position. Yamato cannon kills off what I think was either a Void Ray or a Tempest. The mothership is flying forward into a lot of Vikings. They're tanky, but not that tanky, taking lots of damage. Void Ray barely survives too. I think I also just heard the click, probably a BC retreating. That was the case. We've got 5 BCs out, 19 Vikings. As BenBot is just trying to hold the line for now. Both these bots will start to mine out their further out bases soon. Cool to see BenBot actually mined out that mineral wall, I believe, whereas SharkBot has not done that. I wonder if that's intentional or just maybe unintentional mining of those mineral patches. SharkBot is going for another big ground push. The Vikings will help dispatch the mothership, but then it would be best if they landed in a situation like this, as otherwise it's all on the BCs really to defend against this. I mean, they are BCs. They do have a Thor homie to back them up, but Zealot's getting on top of the Thors, chasing that down. Stalker micro from SharkBot is very good. We've got maxed out upgrades across the board from these bots. As the BCs are being pushed away, the Vikings are really being useless here for BenBot. The bunker and the natural may be broken again. Thors and tank on the high ground are actually doing so much work here, just locked in this position. Looks like one of those Thors may go down. Yeah, okay, it is trying to path out. I guess it can't get out, as that Thor does almost die, but there's a lot of Terran units on this ramp now, so I'm not sure SharkBot's going to break that location. It does get the natural base. It's not mining anymore, but killing a CC is still a victory. More Stalkers are coming in. SharkBot even taking BenBot's base moments after cleaning it up, but breaking into this main base, up this ramp where there's tanks, Thors, and battle cruisers waiting is a very risky move by the Protoss. SharkBot has a huge bank, though, so it can actually maintain trades like this for a little bit. We're seeing 5 Immortals be produced at a time by SharkBot. Its main base is just an absolute mess. But, oh, I was going to say, fortunately, nothing's stuck, but unfortunately, we do actually have an Immortal getting stuck at this point. SharkBot says, I need another Robo, as it goes up to its 8th Robo, which may actually be a few too many, as it isn't producing 7 Immortals at a time right now. We have got some Zealots getting on top of a tank, but they will go down. If SharkBot can hold on to this base, that would be very important for it, and potentially, well, probably game-winning. If it goes on for any significant amount of time, the toss is being pushed back. We do have batteries going up at this base. That's going to really help out SharkBot. It's got to wait kind of for these Immortal reinforcements to get on over there, though. SharkBot's, or BenBot's, still with these units caught in there. That's a very unfortunate bug. Stalker Hit Squad finds another base of BenBot. That's really, really good for the Protoss, shutting down one of these critical mining bases of BenBot. BenBot doesn't really have a big bank right now. It needs all the money it can get. We are see another Oracle die. The Terran is, well, able to push out a little bit, and probably will be able to shut down this base. It's busy trying to save its other command center, though, during this. We've got BenBot saying tag all in, although that's not the first time in this game we've seen that tag, so how all in is the all in? That is the question. BenBot now has to respond to this attack coming from SharkBot. 7 Immortals on the ground, 2 Tempest in the sky, 11 Stalkers versus 7 BCs. 26 Vikings, which is still overkill, but those Tempests, the mothership, will die very, very quickly. The Prisms dying too will be a big deal. Yamato cannons killing off some of those Tempests. Vikings flying on in. They are afraid of the Stalkers, but they do get a volley or two off on the mothership. Kind of force that back. Cloak goes down from the mothership. Very cool to see SharkBot programmed to utilize that. Meanwhile, battle cruisers dumping Yamato cannons, going to kill off the mothership, so no more Cloak. BC is doing okay for themselves. SharkBot, though, is holding on to this base, and the longer this goes on of SharkBot holding this location, the more likely the Protoss bot is going to win. It's so close to the door of BenBot. BenBot, sadly, may be winning this game if the Thors and tank were not stuck. I'm going to go review that game that I cast before of those, in which BenBot did have a stuck Thor, but I swear it eventually got out in the exact same position. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, maybe both are true. Anyway, mules dropping for BenBot are being farmed by these Stalkers. 3 Stalkers causing problems. Vikings programmed to respond, but not programmed to get in range of the Stalkers definitely hurts. Resources lost. BenBot is just slightly behind, so there is still hope for the Terran bot if it can potentially clean up a base. The spending of the resources matters too. Like, SharkBot has got tons of cannons and batteries out on the map, which obviously are going to skew the resource availability a little bit. All the spending on those things that may not be significant because they're at the back of the base. Thors and tank on the high ground. We'll see if they actually get some work done, but SharkBot does just play defensive, which is absolutely the right move for the Protoss. We do have another Robo going up. 9 Robos. I mentioned that -0, another great Protoss bot, well, the great Protoss bot, was building too many Robos before, so it seems to be a trend in the Protoss bots a little bit. There is no reason for that SharkBot. Mothership goes down once again, going to be rebuilt. That is a big money sink for the Protoss. We do have Immortals and Stalkers moving forward, getting on top of the tank. Widowmine going to go off. I'm not sure there's detection to actually kill that, as the toss is getting bullied a little bit. Disruptors getting fired out for SharkBot. Hits its own pylon. Psystorm on a battle cruiser. BenBot is having a tough time pushing up this ramp. There's actually no vision to see these Thors and tanks, so they're actually in like the most goated position ever. That Thor takes so much damage. One of them actually dies, and that may actually be doing BenBot a favor in the long run if those Thors get rebuilt from somewhere else. Although it looks like there is just one factory out, so that may actually not be doing BenBot a favor because it may just rebuild the Thors there. Stalkers poking on the front still, and also poking in the bottom left base, which is very cool harassment by SharkBot. Both bots have got quite a bank, which is very impressive. I guess they're both just mining that much and not actually trading out all that quickly, doing a good job keeping their units alive. BenBot has only lost 1 BC. SharkBot is coming in with its Stalkers, but again, vision up that ramp does remain a problem. Hallucinated Colossus provides vision for a moment, and now both those tanks are gone. We do have BenBot, upon freeing up some supply, now going into mass BCs with 6 building at a time. That is use of production for sure, as it is using all 6 of its starports. It could, in theory, have more, unlike SharkBot, which is 10 robos, but isn't building a single immortal. Well, it is maxed out. That's part of the problem there. But, yeah, who knows? I'd be curious if we just deleted all of SharkBot's army, if it would build 10 immortals at once. That would be something. Curious to know. Vikings are flying around for BenBot, still not going to be too useful. However, they will maintain air dominance while these battle cruisers are on the way out. And that is going to be a very strong air army. Tempest being chased down by some of the Vikings. The Vikings are still just trying to avoid the Stalkers. We've seen 63 Vikings die this game, but some of them do kill off a Tempest. They're looking to grab the mothership. They barely miss it. More battle cruisers are on the way out for BenBot. There's presently 10 alive with 5 more building. That is going to be a ginormous Terran air, just massive battle cruisers. Like, it's so many units for BenBot. Double Yamato Cannon going to delete a Tempest. I thought it was going to be the mothership, so that is a lucky ship for a moment, but one volley from the Vikings and that thing will die. The Vikings do actually get the volley off. BC is taking damage and retreating. I'm not sure I've seen a bot game in which one bot is so close to the door of the other. Vikings all of a sudden land for BenBot. I'm not sure what switch flipped for them. SharkBot throwing out Disruptor Novas. SharkBot trying to take the mined out base of BenBot, which is something I'd love to see some of the bots have, is a check whether a base is actually mined out before they claim it, as that is definitely a waste of money for SharkBot, and money matters in a situation like this. However, as far as that money mattering goes, BenBot is really short on minerals right now. It's got a huge gas bank, and it needs minerals to repair its BCs. It also needs SCVs. It's probably losing lots of minerals in SCVs transferring. Currently, 338 SCVs have died this game. Vikings having to land for BenBot to get their, I don't know, hands dirty, their guns dirty, I guess. So BenBot really needs more SCVs to repair in this position. It's actually lacking that right now. It's got so many injured BCs in the main, pulled back, ready to be repaired. But with SharkBot breaking this natural position, it's actually preventing the repair on the BCs, which is huge, as that is a key feature of BenBot. I bet we've got, yeah, tons of SCVs rallying to the main, trying to be heroes, trying to fix up some of these Terran units, but there's really not that many here. Okay, there's like 2 SCVs. These things are going to have to work triple shifts in order to repair all of these mech units. BenBot is barely hanging on. However, SharkBot has been successfully mining from this base for so darn long. There is a chance BenBot can still win, though. It's got 13 BCs out. If it can heal them up, that is the big question. Vikings deleting anything that flies close to their safe space. So if BenBot can just mine a little bit more, and boy oh boy is it trying with mass muling on this location. It's got a fair few mineral patches here still, but it is going to be very limited in the amount that it can repair at this point. SharkBot is trying to breach the ramp. These BCs will start to fall. There's a few more injured ones at the back, but only 9 BCs remaining as SharkBot goes for the kill. And yes, BCs are taking a bit of damage here, and they are starting to go down to the Stalkers. SharkBot is trading very well, all things considered. Like, its unit grouping is really quite good, as its Stalkers are firing, they're taking damage, but they're also dealing a good amount of damage. BenBot tries to build another BC. It is falling in supply, though, and I think it is going to run out of money prior to its opponent. I mean, these bases are barely mining at this point. Even if all these units suddenly got repaired up to full HP, I think it might be too much. And BenBot is just spending so much money on SCVs that are rallying to their death. This is the risk of having your workers transfer between bases. Things like this happen. Like, it's trying to send SCVs over here for some reason, well, over to that base, but it really just needs them in the main. Who knows, maybe it would be good if BenBot dropped some mules to repair. That would be difficult to program, though. This base is being gutted, so there goes more of the income for BenBot. And yeah, you just can't program a bot to play as efficiently as a human would in a situation like this. As a human, you'd probably stop building SCVs, start just using mules to repair, because you know every resource matters. BenBot, though, is in a bit of a death spiral. I'll say more than a bit, because it's lost about 20,000 resources in SCVs this game. And that is too much. And that's pretty much because SharkBot, well, it had great harassment this game, but it also just pushing in, taking this base of BenBot and then securing the natural. Every SCV that tries to get sent to this main base just dies. And yeah, I do think SharkBot will take this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched until the end of this epic match, click that like button, leave a comment down below. And yeah, what a great game this was. Unfortunately, there is that bug with BenBot on Thunderbird. We see a mass scan for some reason. That's interesting. I don't know what that is. BenBot says a prayer and tries to invoke the power of the sun to win the game, but unfortunately scans do not melt Protoss units. Terran can dream, though. Yeah, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe, and if you do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. That's the best way to go about that. And yes, that is pretty much it for this one, as BenBot even takes this base. Not too many criticisms for SharkBot, and I meant SharkBot when I said BenBot there. Stuck Immortal. Did eventually get that out. I'm wondering if it used a prism to lift that out. Then the mass robos, like it ended up at 12 robos, which it definitely doesn't need. Taking bases that are 100% mined out. Not really necessary, although, I mean, I guess you could make an argument, oh, you can then battery overcharge the batteries and use that as kind of like a staging ground. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe. And it definitely did work. It definitely sort of helped SharkBot prioritize that location. BenBot is just getting cleared out, though, at this point. Yeah, BenBot just... I'd love to see a rematch between these two without those two stuck Thors. If those Thors were on the front lines and that tank's there, maybe it's a completely different game. I will go check my last BenBot replay, though, because, like, there was one Thor stuck from what I recall, but then it eventually got out. So maybe it was a different position or something like that. SharkBot just needs to kill BenBot so it stops spamming chat at this point. Seems to be in no rush to do that, though. Oracle keeps finding that base. SharkBot is just in, like, happy mining mode, taking nexuses that are empty. It does eventually send some stalkers out to win the day, though. SharkBot then takes that base with 500 minerals at it, so I guess it's worth it. GG.